Moved. Amendment 184. Lord Moylan.
My Lords, I apologise for detaining the House, given the lateness of the hour. I am grateful to my noble friend Lord Hodgson of Astley Abbots, noble Baroness Lady Lister of Bertisset, and the noble Lord Blunkett for putting their names to the motion, and the noble Lord Blunkett has asked me to convey his apologies to the House for not being able to be here this evening because of a commitment tomorrow morning in Sheffield. Although it's late, this is an important topic. The amendment was meant to give us the opportunity for a leisurely debate on the meaning and value of British citizenship. I suspect that it will be a shorter debate than was originally hoped for, but nonetheless it is a very important topic. The British Nationality Act of 1981 was shaped by Britain's new place in a post-imperial world. Previously, we were subjects of the monarch, and the monarch's sway extended throughout a large part of the world. With the transition to a post-colonial world, thought was given in the late 1970s and early 80s as to what the meaning was of the bond that should exist between citizen and the state. And an important white paper in 1980 or 81 set out the notion of a new concept. It was a new and alien concept to us. Actually, we'd never used really the word citizenship before. A new concept of citizenship that would express that bond that existed between people, the close bond that existed between people and the United Kingdom. The question really is, are we living up to that ambition, that there would be a citizenship that was more than just a piece of paper or a particular sort of travel document, but did represent a close sort of bond? It was assumed, I think, in the White Paper and in the original British Nationality Act that anyone who did have the status of citizen would be treated equally. They would have an equal citizenship. I regret to say, my Lords, that I don't think that is really true anymore. The first is in a way that was discussed at much earlier in committee on an earlier amendment concerning the power the state has taken to itself increasingly to deprive British citizens of their citizenship, a power which since 2015 has extended to any British citizen about whom the Secretary of State believes, has reasonable ground for believing, they might have not another nationality, but a claim to another nationality. As I said then, this includes an enormous number of British citizens, anyone with an Irish grandparent, all sorts of people of Commonwealth heritage. The Prime Minister, sadly, since he had the misfortune to be born in the United States, he has claims in that regard. All of these people now hold a sort of second-class citizenship, which could be removed from them by administrative action, simply on the grounds of a reasonable belief held by the Secretary of State, by the Home Secretary. There is another class of impaired citizenship, which just requires me for a moment to make a comment about how citizenship is actually acknowledged. For most of us, it's acquired by the fact that we have it by birth or descent. It's manifest, if you like. Our British citizenship is manifest from the time we are born, but there are others who are born where their citizenship is more obscure because they might have been born abroad or their circumstances might be different. And because of that, since 1948, we have allowed people who are British to register that citizenship so that it can be acknowledged. But nowadays, we impose huge, almost punitive fees on people who wish to register their citizenship. This is their right, to register their right to citizenship. And while I have no particular objection to the Home Office making money out of the rich, if that's what they want to do, When that becomes a bar to claiming the right to citizenship, it is a genuine obstacle to the exercise of a right, and it should be the case that there should be some alleviation of the fee for those who find it difficult to pay it. The third category, which is somewhat impaired, is those people who are naturalised citizens. Now, naturalisation is not like registration. Naturalisation is a concession by the state. Nobody has a right to be naturalised as a British citizen except as provided for in statute. But once they are naturalised, surely they should be treated equally with every other British citizen. Sadly, that has not been true since 1918. It seems to me that it behoves a Conservative government in a post-Brexit world to have a clearer idea of the meaning and value and equality of citizenship, and I hope that it will start to develop one. Secondly, I come to the question briefly of what the government's view is of the value of citizenship. The joy we have in our British citizenship, if you like. Now, I use that word because I spoke earlier in committee on another amendment about the joy I had seen in people coming to be naturalised and going through the citizenship ceremony process that was introduced, I think, about 20 years ago. Previously, we never had such a thing. It was brought in about 20 years ago. And I talked about the fact that when you see them coming, in my case, I would see them coming to my town hall, that they were very often coming in a spirit of family joy, as if they were going to a wedding. It was a great thing, and they were wearing their best clothes, and they were proud of the event. And I just wonder whether the Home Office shares that sense of pride and joy, because I don't necessarily feel that they do. Rather, I hear government ministers and officials speaking increasingly of citizenship as if it were a privilege or a concession rather than a right. It is wrong and insulting because it is a right. It's also logically absurd if you think about it, because you have to have citizens before you can have a government. You can have citizens without a government. We call that anarchy. But having a government without citizens is an absurdity. So the citizens do come before the government, and the citizenship is not conferred by the government. Rather, government is acknowledged and created, so to speak, by the citizens. Now, I'm not going to say any more for now because the hour is late. I do know one or two other people want to speak, and so I will leave it with them to take up the argument. I hope the subject I've raised is not too abstruse. I know ministers are tired, I understand that. They've worked heroically. They've been worn down having to deal with highly detailed technical questions, and they're now being invited by me to embark on a broader subject that they may find just slightly frazzles their brains. But I hope they might be able to make some sort of fist of a response, and I look forward to hearing what my noble friend on the front bench, whichever one it is, has to say.